I can't believe I agreed to marry such a boring, average nobody.
The elite guests erupted into delighted laughter, their champagne flutes trembling in their hands.
I mean, what does he even bring to this? A modest job and a face so forgettable it hurts.
Yuki's fists clenched tightly at his sides, knuckles turning pale white against the dark fabric of his suit.
Honestly, he was nothing but a charity case I pitied.
Without a word, Yuki slid the engagement ring from his finger, the metal cold against his skin.
Then the wedding is off.
He turned and walked toward the exit, the sea of guests parting in stunned, silent disbelief, their earlier laughter frozen on their faces.
Yuki, don't you dare walk away from me. He'll come crawling back by morning, tail between his legs. He always does.
Hours later, Saki stood in her penthouse, phone pressed to her ear, the line ringing without end.
Why won't he answer? He never ignores my calls.
Fury twisted her features. She hurled a wine glass against the wall, shattering it into 1,000 glittering shards.
You can't do this to me, Yuki. I won't let you humiliate me like this.
Then her phone buzzed on the glass table, the screen lighting up with her father's name.
Father, what's wrong? You sound out of breath. Slow down. What do you mean everything's falling apart?
But his voice, thick with dread, only repeated a single command: get to the family estate right now.
Whatever mess Yuki has caused, I'll make sure he fixes it.
But the tremor in her hands, as she grabbed her coat, betrayed a creeping dread she couldn't quite name. Saki strode into the family estate, but the cold faces waiting in the study stopped her cold.
Father, what is this? Why is everyone looking at me like I've committed a crime?
Because you have. Do you know who you humiliated tonight? That man is Yuki Takahashi.
What? Takahashi? The rival conglomerate? That's ridiculous. He's just a salaryman.
Toshiro snatched a file from the desk and shoved it into her hands, the paper trembling.
Sole heir. This can't be. He never said a word, all those years.
The merger we've been pursuing for years depended on that engagement. Your petty cruelty just killed it.
Her hands weakened, and the file slipped from her fingers, scattering its damning pages across the marble floor.
This is a mistake. There has to be some way to fix this.
But the silence that met her plea was answer enough. For the first time, Saki felt the cold weight of irrevocable damage.
Pick up, Yuki. For once in your miserable life, just pick up. He always just sat there, listening. I thought he was weak. Was that just patience? That time he gave me that scarf, I barely looked at it. He never complained.
She reached his modest apartment and found the door unlocked. The silence inside absolute. The shelves were bare, the closet empty. He had even taken the cheap potted plant she'd once mocked somewhere across the city. Yuki's phone buzzed with her name, and he didn't even pick it up.
He moved out. Not just tonight. He planned this. How long had he been waiting? At the shows, he'd hold my coat for hours. I never even said thank you. He was never a nobody. I was just too blind to see it.
And with a shiver, Saki understood that the man she'd belittled had just outplayed her at every turn. The next morning, a terse message from a mutual acquaintance lit up her phone. Yuki was seen at a downtown cafe.
So, he thinks he can just sit there and enjoy a coffee while my entire world crumbles.
She threw on her coat and hailed a taxi, her rehearsed words already forming a persuasive pitch.
I'll remind him of the good times. A few tears, a soft touch. He's always been weak for that.
The city skyline slid past the window, but her mind saw only the negotiation table she was constructing.
If he's truly the heir, then the merger is still within reach. I just need to make him see the logic. And if he's still lovesick like a puppy, then this will be even easier than I thought.
The taxi stopped before a quaint coffee shop, its warm glow at odds with the chill in her chest.
There. In 5 minutes, everything will be back under my control. He won't know what hit him.
But as her fingers curled around the door handle, a tremor ran through her, a whisper of doubt she immediately crushed. Instead of entering, Saki paused and peered through the cafe's rain-streaked window, her breath fogging the glass. There, at a corner table, sat a woman with long, wavy hair and the warmest eyes Saki had ever seen.
And Yuki is smiling. A real smile, not the hollow one he'd wear at my events. I've never seen that laugh before. Who is this woman who can make him look so at peace?
Aiko's hand brushed his, a gesture so casual and intimate it struck Saki's chest like a blade.
This isn't a business meeting. He's not alone to spite me. He's moved on.
They were talking easily, the kind of conversation that had never existed between her and Yuki.
He looks at her the way I always wanted him to look at me. And I threw that away. The merger. Was I really only thinking about the merger this whole time?
She stood frozen, all her rehearsed arguments dying in her throat, as a foreign and terrible feeling took hold. Loss. The cafe door flew open with an angry jangle, and every patron's head swiveled toward Saki, her coat flapping as she strode toward the corner table.
Yuki. So this is where you've been hiding all night. And with her, who is she? What exactly do you think you are doing?
Aiko's hand paused midair, the spoon hovering over her cup. Her gentle eyes flickered with surprise, then looked to Yuki.
You always did know how to make an entrance, Saki.
Don't play games with me. Answer the question. Who is this woman, and why are you with her?
Her name is Aiko, and we're having coffee. Is there a problem?
A problem? You disappear hours after calling off our wedding, and I find you on a date? Yes, there's a problem.
Yuki didn't rise to the bait. He simply rested his chin on his hand, his gaze fixed on Saki, with a calm that chilled the air.
Why isn't he on the defensive? I am the one standing over his table, but somehow he holds all the cards.
The engagement was over the moment you decided I was a charity case. There's nothing left to say.
You are ruining us. The merger was everything, and you threw it away over a few words.
Yuki's eyes, which had been merely guarded, turned to ice. A muscle twitched in his jaw.
So that's all you came for? The merger? Not an apology, not even a hint of regret.
Of course I regret it. Look at the mess you've made.
Aiko, who hadn't said a word, watched the exchange with a pained expression, her hand resting protectively on the table.
You haven't changed, Saki. You still see people as assets or obstacles.
Yuki, please. We can still fix this. The families. We can work something out.
I am not interested in your transactions. I've found something real, and I am not letting you destroy it.
He's not coming back. This isn't a negotiation anymore. This is goodbye.
I should go. This feels like a conversation you need to have alone.
No, Aiko. Please stay. There's nothing else I need to hear that I haven't already decided. You want to know why I stayed, Saki? I believed you were capable of change. I saw a glimmer of something real beneath the cruelty, but last night, you showed me exactly who you really are, and it's not someone I can love.
Every word struck her like a physical blow, each syllable dismantling the last of her defenses.
He sounds more hurt than angry. I didn't just embarrass him. I wounded him.
I've spent years hoping you'd see me, but you never did.
The fight drained from Saki, leaving only a hollow, quiet understanding. For once, she had no comeback.
I threw away a man who truly loved me, and I didn't even notice until it was too late.
The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken years, as Yuki watched her with the remote pity of someone who had already let go.
Yuki, I am not here about the merger. I need to apologize for everything, for the way I treated you.
But Yuki only shook his head, a sad, knowing smile, pulling at the corner of his mouth.
Thank you for teaching me what I deserve. I finally found someone who actually sees me.
He gestured toward Aiko, who met his gaze with a quiet, unwavering warmth. Aiko's hand found his under the table, a silent vow of support that spoke louder than any words Saki could muster.
Look at them. That's what I never gave him. That's what I lost.
The intimacy between them was a language Saki had never learned, and the sight of it curdled something dark in her chest.
He's replaced me already, with someone who actually cares. I am the charity case now.
I hope you find that kind of peace someday, Saki, but it won't be with me.
And in that moment, Saki felt the last remnants of her pride crumble, replaced by a jealousy so sharp it stole her breath.
I never wanted to hurt you like this.
And then, for the first time in years, Saki cried, not for show, but with a raw, shuddering grief that shook her shoulders. Yuki's guarded expression flickered, a fleeting shadow of the old tenderness crossing his features before it vanished.
I don't deserve your forgiveness. I just needed you to know I am sorry.
Eiko's hand gently came to rest on Yuki's arm, a silent anchor in the storm of Saki's emotions.
That simple touch. That's what I threw away. She has what I never earned.
I believe you are sorry now, but it doesn't change what happened.
The wall between them stood as solid as ever, but for the first time, Saki was on the outside, looking in.
He's not mine anymore. He was never really mine, and it's my own fault.
The coffee shop hummed around them, oblivious to the quiet ending of a chapter that had never truly begun. Yuki pushed back his chair and stood, the scrape of wood against tile cutting through the hushed cafe.
I will be instructing the Takahashi group to withdraw from the merger negotiations. Public humiliation is a sign of deep character flaws, and we cannot ally with that.
You are punishing my whole family because of a few stupid words I said? This has nothing to do with the business.
It has everything to do with it. Integrity is the foundation of partnership. You've shown none.
Aiko rose silently, her hand resting on Yuki's arm, her eyes full of sorrow, but aligned with him.
He's not just walking away from me. He's dismantling my entire life. Yuki, I beg you, don't do this. Think of the livelihood of everyone who depends on that merger.
Then they should be grateful. I am protecting them from aligning with someone who humiliates their partners.
His voice was calm, but each word was a final nail in the coffin of any hope she'd clung to. The waiter behind the counter froze mid-pour, the room attuned to the gravity of what had just been declared.
Please, Yuki. I'll change. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance.
It's too late for that, Saki. The damage is done.
She stood frozen, her empty hand still outstretched, grasping at something that was already gone. With a final, unreadable glance, Yuki turned toward the door, Aiko a step behind, her silhouette a quiet promise of a future Saki would never know. Her legs gave way, and she crumpled into the chair, the wood creaking under the weight of her surrender. Tears streamed down her face, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs, the elegance of her designer dress a cruel contrast to her utter desolation. Around her, patrons averted their eyes, the clink of cups resuming hesitantly, as if nothing had happened.
He really left. He chose her. I have nothing.
The chair where Yuki had sat was still warm, the imprint of his presence already fading. And in that quiet cafe, surrounded by strangers, the woman who had once humiliated a boring nobody was now the one utterly alone. Hours later, her phone shattered the silence. Toshiro's name blazed on the screen, and before she could speak, his roar filled the room.
The Takahashi group has officially withdrawn. Our stock is in freefall. Partners are fleeing like rats. Do you understand what you've done? You have single-handedly destroyed this family.
Saki didn't answer. The words were background noise, a dull hammer pounding on the already shattered glass of her life.
All those years of planning, the alliances, the future, all of it gone because you couldn't keep your mouth shut for one evening.
In the background, she could hear the frantic shouts of assistance and the insistent ringing of other lines, a corporate empire in chaos.
My fault. All of it. The merger, the family, Yuki, everything.
Don't come to the office. Don't try to fix this. Your involvement will only make it worse.
The line went dead. Saki's hand lowered slowly, the phone slipping from her numb fingers onto the carpet. The full weight of it all pressed down, a palpable force that left her breathless. She had lost not just a man, but an entire world. Days bled into a gray, formless blur. Saki drew the curtains and let the silence swallow her whole. A forgotten scarf, the one he'd given her years ago, lay crumpled on a chair, a tiny monument to his unremembered affection.
How many times did I brush him off? He'd just smile and say, maybe next time.
Then her own voice, a ghost on repeat. A boring, average nobody. A charity case. The words seared into her skull.
He held my coat for hours at every show, and I never even said thank you. I never once saw him. Not the man who sat through every dinner, who listened to every complaint.
She remembered the day he'd given her that scarf, his eyes so hopeful. She'd barely glanced at it before tossing it aside.
What kind of monster does that to someone who loved them?
The regret was a physical ache, now, settled deep behind her ribs, sharper than any public humiliation.
He was right to leave. I was the real charity case all along.
One evening, Saki took a pen and a blank sheet of paper, her hand trembling with the weight of unspoken words. Yuki, I understand the depth of the wound I inflicted. I made you a prop in my cruel play.
Each word I write is a knife in my chest, but the paper absorbs it silently.
She wrote about the scarf, the shows, the countless times she'd looked right through him. You were never a charity case. I begged for scraps of your patience. Blind to your worth, she sealed the envelope. The address line left blank.
Sending this would only hurt him more. He's happy now. Letting go means letting this confession die unread.
She pressed the envelope to her chest, tears slipping down her cheeks and soaking the paper.
This apology is for me, not him. A mirror to see the monster I became.
She placed the letter in a drawer and closed it. The click, a final goodbye. Months later, Saki sat in her sparsely furnished apartment, scrolling past the ruins of her modeling career. Yuki Takahashi and Aiko Mori announced their engagement.
He looks happy, a smile I never saw but that I now understand.
She could picture them walking hand in hand under the cherry blossoms, a peaceful future she would never be part of.
I taught him to value himself, even if the lesson was at my own expense.
She expected rage, but only a quiet, sorrowful acceptance settled in her chest.
Maybe my cruelty was the chisel that shaped his strength.
A sad smile tugged at her lips, not for herself, but for the man who had found what he deserved.
Go, be happy. I won't chase a ghost I created.
The phone dimmed, and Saki was alone with a finality that felt like freedom and a cage all at once. On a gray afternoon, Saki pushed open the heavy doors of the now deserted banquet hall. The chandeliers hung dark and motionless, the tables stripped bare, only her footsteps echoing off the walls.
I can still hear the laughter, my own voice cutting through the applause. A boring, average nobody. I said that, here, in front of everyone.
She stopped exactly where he had stood, the ghost of his quiet dignity, still palpable in the air.
He placed the ring here so calmly and walked away, and I still believed he'd crawl back. I was the charity case, not him. I had everything and saw nothing.
The finality seeped into her bones, cold and absolute, as the truth found its permanent home.
There's no apology, no letter, no tear that can undo this night.
And in that hollow silence, she finally understood the depth of what she had destroyed. Across town, Yuki and Aiko sat at a quiet restaurant, a single candle between them, their laughter soft and easy. It was a private celebration, just two people who had found in each other a peace the world hadn't given them.
Aiko, I never imagined I could feel this at ease. Thank you for seeing me.
Then his phone buzzed, a reminder of a past he rarely thought of anymore. An old photo of him and Saki at a company gala. Her smile triumphant, his distant, appeared on the screen. He paused. Without a second thought, he pressed delete, the photo dissolving into static. The image vanished, taking the last tether to a chapter that no longer defined him.
Where were we?
Aiko's gentle smile held no question, only the quiet confidence that came from being truly known. While Saki knelt in the ruins of her pride, Yuki stood at the threshold of his future, unburdened and whole.
I am sorry, Yuki. You deserved someone who saw your worth from the start.
From her finger, she slid the engagement ring, the diamond catching the dim light. She set it gently on the table, exactly where he had left his, a final mirror of his silent departure. It was a surrender, a quiet acknowledgement that she had no more claims to make. With one last look at the hollow grandeur, she turned toward the door, her heels clicking a somber rhythm. Her silhouette passed through the doorway, swallowed by the gray afternoon light. The heavy door swung shut behind her with a resonant thud, sealing the past inside. On the table, the two rings lay side by side, a history, a lesson, a goodbye. Outside, Saki walked alone, the city indifferent to her quiet transformation. She did not look back. For the first time, she understood that some doors, once closed, can never be reopened. In the end, Saki got exactly what she demanded. a way out of marrying a boring nobody. But what she lost was a man who would have stayed for a lifetime, patiently hoping she would finally look his way. Yuki found a gentle-eyed woman who saw his quiet strength from the very first conversation. The merger collapsed. The family empire shuddered. But the true wreckage was a love Saki never knew she had. Her public cruelty killed far more than a business deal. It killed the one connection that could have saved her from herself. She immediately regretted it. Not the lost merger, but the lost man. And that regret will outlast any stock market slide. While Saki sat among the ashes of her arrogance, Yuki walked forward, unburdened by the person who never truly saw him. The lesson was harsh, but the proof was in the 2 rings left on a table. One a warning, one a farewell. Some apologies are never heard, and some second chances never arrive. In the silence of that empty hall, the only thing left was the echo of a choice that could never be undone. The city street stretched before her, painted in the muted oranges and violets of a dying sun. Saki walked slowly, her once expensive heels replaced by simple flats, her designer dress exchanged for a plain coat. She paused beneath a street lamp that flickered to life, casting a solitary pool of light around her.
Thank you for teaching me what I should have known.
A single tear traced the curve of her cheek, carrying with it the last of her pride and the first seeds of a hard-won wisdom. She looked up at the darkening sky, then continued on, her footsteps a quiet rhythm against the pavement. No one noticed the woman who had once commanded a room, now just a stranger disappearing into the evening crowd. The camera held on her fading silhouette as the last light bled away, leaving only the suggestion of a figure moving forward. Some lessons come too late, but even in the darkest dusk, a single step forward is still a step.